Hi, my name is Stephanie Holbert, and I am a volunteer as well as a patient at Moffitt Cancer Center. And I wrote a story called Pink in the Box. It's under the pen name L.H. Tuffy. And I thought part of it would be easier to just talk it through, and then part of it I'll read to you. And so let's begin. I remember back in 2013, during my cancer treatment, in the mornings getting ready and opening up the dresser drawer and looking down at a pink shirt, and this argument would start in my head. Stephanie, if you wear pink, you might get cancer again. And I'd respond back, no, I won't. And then this voice would respond, you just might. I was in between assignments as a corporate trainer. I have a bachelor's of arts in biology and psychology and a master's, but I could not muster up the words to combat my irrational argument. And most mornings I would just shut the drawer and walk away from that part of my reality. Let's go ahead and pick up the story, Pink in the Box, from here.
I'm not sure how many more arguments she had, or how often she envied others who saw pink as a battle cry before pink just became a color again. Yet I know it was not before she had the opportunity to talk about cancer with people whose lives have been touched by cancer. She got to talk without being interrupted, having the subject changed, or looking at someone who had turned away because it was just too painful for them to look at her. Instead, these newfound friends leaned in and joined in eagerly in the conversation as if they were discussing the latest fashion.
I'm just going to interrupt my story right here because it's easier to tell this part in person. Like many of you, I order several items now through different apps, household appliances, cat food. And when they're delivered, I usually just run right out and wave and thank the delivery person for being on the front lines and always being reliable. But this day, I actually missed the delivery person. When I went to the front door and looked out through the glass, I stared down at the box, and this argument began to form in my head. And it started with, you better wear gloves before you pick up that box. And I'm like, no, I don't have to. Well, you just might get. And I hesitated a moment, and I almost turned around and went back and got a pair of disposable gloves. And then I just opened the door and picked up the box. I think this argument has been going on in my head for a period of time, perhaps because of the press conferences and hearing how other people are taking precautions to prevent getting the virus. And then this fact of we just don't know where we might pick it up. Let's go back to the story. When had a box elicited such fear, and when would a box stop being a symbol of the pandemic, and how would we get to that point again? She thought about the 30th wedding anniversary celebration she had attended via Zoom as she carried the box into the house. How did we say it? She struggled to recall the exact words. Ah, yes. We used to say old people had 30th wedding anniversaries. Now we're having them, and we're not old. She smiled as she recalled the laughter from the group. It had been a good party despite the overarching theme of the pandemic and the fears that were expressed by several. There was a sense of unity, of peace, of we're in this together. Perhaps it is this, she thought as she put away the items that were in the box, this coming together that will help us bring the brown box back into just that, a brown box. After she had finished putting away the items and properly disposing of the box, she washed her hands, a new ritual for such an activity. And then she concluded, as it was stated and artistically depicted in the book I Define Cancer by L.H. Tuffy, cancer is not black or white, and it's not even pink. If cancer is not pink, she thought, and it took conversations with those who knew cancer to turn pink back into a color, then maybe it will take conversations with those whose lives have been touched by the pandemic, like the conversation we had today, to one day turn this box back into an ordinary box. And hopefully this Christmas will be another, as we have come to call it, no matter where we order the presents from, and Amazon Christmas.